Success is something we all want, isn't it? But here's what so many miss. Success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. Chasing success can leave you worn out, frustrated, even empty. The harder you chase, the further it seems to run. But if you focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts success, you won't need to chase anymore. Success will come looking for you. So let me ask, what kind of person are you becoming? That's where it all begins. Now you might wonder, what does it mean to become a person who attracts success? It begins with your character. It grows with your habits. It sharpens with your mindset. Success, my friends, is drawn to certain qualities: discipline, perseverance, generosity, integrity. It comes to people who add value to the world, to those who keep growing, keep improving, to those who live intentionally, with goals and with vision. So I want to talk about goals. You can't attract success without them. You need a clear destination. Too many people wander through life without direction, and then wonder why success never shows up. I'll tell you why. Success doesn't come to the drifter. It comes to the one who is clear, who knows what they want, and who's willing to pay the price. And what's that price? Time, effort, discipline, sacrifice. But it starts with the first step, knowing what you want. If I asked you right now, what's your goal for the next 5 years? Could you answer with clarity, with something specific and compelling? If not, let me save you the suspense. You're not going to attract success. You've got to be clear. Clarity leads to action, and action leads to results. Once you know what you want, the path begins to open. Now, don't get me wrong. The road won't always be easy. In fact, it rarely is. But you'll be moving in the right direction. And that makes all the difference. Success comes to those who take consistent, disciplined steps toward their goals, even when it gets tough. And believe me, it will get tough. But here's the secret. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. That's why becoming the kind of person who attracts success is so critical. You've got to grow tougher, wiser, more resilient. The bigger your goals, the bigger your obstacles. But those obstacles aren't there to stop you. They're there to build you. Years ago, I was broke, 25 years old, nothing in the bank, nothing in my pocket, and not much hope for the future. But something happened that changed my life forever. I met a man, my mentor, Mr. Shoaf. And one day he said something that changed my life. Jim, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to get better, you have to get better. You see, that was a revelation. I had been waiting for my circumstances to improve. But what he taught me was this: it wasn't my circumstances, it was me. I was the problem, but I was also the solution. If I wanted to attract success, I had to become the kind of person success would be drawn to. So I went to work on myself. I read the books. I listened to the seminars. I found a mentor. I did whatever it took to sharpen my mind, build my skills, and improve my habits. And slowly but surely, things began to change. Why? Because I was changing. That's the key. Success is attracted by the person you become. When I changed, my opportunities changed. When I changed, the people I met changed. When I changed, everything changed. But it all started with me. Now let's talk about habits. If you want to attract success, you've got to cultivate the right ones. Your habits will shape your future. See, you can have the best intentions in the world, but if your habits don't match your goals, you'll struggle. Think about it. If you want to be fit, but your habit is junk food and skipping the gym. Will you get fit? Of course not. It works the same way with success. You can't expect success if your habits don't line up with it. Successful people have success habits. They read, they plan, they take action. They review their progress, they get up early, they stay focused. And above all, they are consistent. Consistency, that's the real key. Success isn't built on what you do once in a while. It's built on what you do day in, day out. Ordinary things done consistently lead to extraordinary results. Now, I'll tell you, it's easy to get excited for a day, maybe even a week. But can you stay excited? Can you stay committed for months, even years? That's where the magic shows up, in the consistency. But habits aren't enough. You need the right mindset. Your mindset is the soil, and everything grows out of it. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, or limiting beliefs, it will choke out success before it starts. You must believe you can become the person who attracts success. You must believe you're capable of great things, because if you don't believe it, no one else will. Now, belief alone won't do it, but it is the foundation. Everything begins there. You must believe your future can be better than your past. You've heard the saying, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's true. Your thinking shapes your reality. If you think you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. But if you believe you can grow, you will grow. That's why becoming a person who attracts success starts with your mindset. And how do you change it? By feeding it, by guarding it. The mind is like a sponge. It soaks up whatever surrounds it. If you spend your time with negativity, with pessimism, with fear, that's what fills your mind. But if you surround yourself with positive influences, with books that inspire you, with people who challenge you to grow, your mindset will shift. It has to. And when your thinking changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your results change. Now let's talk about relationships. The people you spend time with have a massive influence on who you become. If you're surrounded by people who are negative, who lack goals, who are content with mediocrity, it will be tough for you to attract success. You must choose carefully. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who inspire you, who push you to grow. People who are walking the same road of self-improvement. There's an old saying, show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. It's true. You become like the people you spend the most time with. So take a close look at your circle. Who are you spending time with? I'm not saying cut everyone out of your life, but I am saying be intentional about who influences you. Success requires people of high standards, people who are going somewhere, people who believe in your potential. Those people will push you higher, and when you grow, you attract more. When I began working on myself, I noticed something. My circle began to change. Not because they changed, but because I did. Some old friends drifted away. They weren't interested in reading the books I was reading. They didn't want to talk about success or growth or big ideas. And I realized not everyone is going to come with you. Some will stay where they are, and that's fine. But if you want to move forward, you got to let go of relationships that hold you back. Every relationship is a force. It's either pulling you up or dragging you down. There's no neutral. So ask yourself, are the people in my life pushing me closer to my goals or pulling me further away? Be honest. Because if you're serious about becoming the kind of person who attracts success, you must align your relationships with your ambitions. And I know it's not easy. Sometimes it hurts. But success always requires sacrifice. You can't hold on to everything and expect to move ahead. When I started learning from Mr. Shoaff, He introduced me to a new circle, people who were achieving, who were already successful. And that changed everything. I watched how they thought, how they acted, how they carried themselves. They were disciplined, generous, optimistic. They believed in abundance, not scarcity. And that kind of thinking rubs off. I began to think differently, dream bigger, act with greater purpose. Why? Because I was spending time with people already living the kind of life I wanted. So ask yourself, who are you learning from? Who are you modeling? Success leaves clues. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Find people who've already done what you want to do and study them, their habits, their mindset, their routines. Success is predictable if you follow the right patterns. That's what I did with Mr. Shoaff. I followed his lead, listened to his advice, and it changed the entire course of my life. Now let's talk about value. If you want to attract success, you must become a person of value. Success doesn't chase after people who just take up space. It finds those who add value to the world. And here's the principle. The more value you add, the more success you attract. But what does it mean to add value? It means solving problems, helping others, giving more than you take. Successful people are problem solvers. They improve the world around them. They bring answers, not complaints. They see opportunity where others see obstacles. So ask yourself, how can I add more value? How can I solve bigger problems? How can I contribute more to my job, my business, my community? When you become a person of value, people will look for you. Opportunities will knock on your door. Why? Because the world rewards those who contribute more than they consume. And never forget, your level of success will always match the size of the problems you solve. Solve small problems, attract small success. Solve big problems, attract big success. But adding value isn't just external, it's also internal. It's about your character, your integrity, your ethics. The people who attract lasting success live by principles. They don't cut corners, they don't deceive, they build trust. Because trust is the foundation of all success. Without trust, you won't get far. You might manage short-term wins, but they won't last. Real success, lasting success, is built on trust. Here's something Mr. Shoaff always said, that the way you do anything is the way you do everything. That means if you cut corners in one area, it bleeds into others. If you're dishonest in one part of life, it seeps into all of life. You can't separate your character. So if you want to attract success, start with the small things. Are you keeping your word, following through, doing your best, even when no one's watching? Because it's those small daily decisions that build your character. And your character is what draws or repels success. Now let's look at one of the most important qualities of all, discipline. Without discipline, you won't go far. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your achievements. It's what keeps you moving when the excitement fades. It's what keeps you on track when distractions come. And trust me, they will come. Discipline is what separates winners from losers, the successful from the unsuccessful. Most people quit when it gets tough, but the ones who attract success, they keep going. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel like it or not. Because success isn't about feelings. It's about principles. It's about doing the right things, day after day. Now, discipline didn't come naturally to me, but here's the good news. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You build it just like you build physical strength. It starts small. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's finishing the project even though you're tired. Every disciplined decision strengthens your discipline muscle, and over time it gets easier. But discipline isn't just about achievement. It's about self-respect. When you discipline yourself, you're saying, I'm worth the effort. My goals are worth the effort. And when you respect yourself, others will respect you too. That's another key to attracting success. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with respect and high standards. So raise your standards. Expect more from yourself. Don't settle for average. Here's one more principle. Patience. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not an event, it's a process. And most people get frustrated because they want instant results. But the truth is, success takes time. It's like planting a seed. You don't plant it today and expect a tree tomorrow. You water it, nurture it, give it time to grow. That's how success works. Patience doesn't mean sitting idle. It means continuing to work, to improve, to take action, even when you don't see immediate results. It means trusting the process. Every step you take is bringing you closer to your goal, even if it feels slow. Too many give up too soon because they lack patience. But success belongs to the ones willing to wait, to stay the course, to keep going. Patience is rare today. We live in a world of instant everything, instant communication, instant gratification, instant access. But real success, the kind that lasts, is never instant. It's built slowly, brick by brick. And the only way to see it through is patience. There's an old saying, haste makes waste. When you rush the process, you miss the lessons, you miss the growth, and in the end, you miss the success. But patience doesn't mean sitting back, waiting for things to fall into place. Patience means understanding that while you work, the results will come in due time. It's trusting that your efforts will compound. That's the real power of compounding, my friends. The small things you do consistently over time create massive results. It's like planting a seed. If you water it today, tomorrow, and the next day, eventually it grows into a strong tree. The same principle applies to your success. Every effort, every disciplined action, every small improvement, they all add up. That's why patience, combined with consistency, is a recipe for success. Now, while we're on patience, here's something else I want to talk about. Persistence. If patience is the willingness to wait, persistence is the determination to keep going no matter what. You can't attract success without persistence. Life will test you. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments you'll question whether it's worth it. But I'll tell you, persistence always pays off. Always. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often just one word: persistence. Successful people aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the most talented, but they are almost always the most persistent. They refuse to quit. They refuse to stay discouraged. They keep going no matter how tough it gets. So let me ask you, are you willing to fail on your way to success? Are you willing to keep going when things don't go as planned? Because if you're not willing to persist, you won't attract success. You've got to be resilient. You've got to have grit. You've got to be willing to pick yourself up every time you fall. Success doesn't go to the person who never fails. It goes to the person who never stays down. And when life knocks you down, and it will, get back up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. That's how you attract success. Now, here's something else about persistence. It's not just about working hard, it's about working smart. Persistence without strategy is like running on a treadmill. You're sweating, you're working, but you're not going anywhere. You've got to be persistent with purpose. You need a plan, a roadmap, a direction, and then you adjust as needed. Sometimes when something isn't working, the answer isn't to push harder. It's to change your approach. Persistence doesn't mean repeating the same thing and expecting new results. It means staying committed to the goal while being flexible in the method. That's another trait of people who attract success. They're adaptable. They adjust when the situation demands it. They don't get stuck in one way of thinking. They're open to new ideas, new approaches, new ways of doing things. And that's important because the world is always changing. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. So you've got to be willing to evolve, to learn, to grow, to embrace new opportunities. The more adaptable you are, the more success you'll attract. Back when I was starting out in business, I had my own ideas about how it should all work. I thought if I just worked hard enough, everything would fall into place. But it didn't always work out that way. Sometimes my strategy failed. Sometimes my business didn't grow the way I wanted. And I had a choice. Keep doing the same thing or adapt. Thank goodness I chose to adapt. I learned new ways to market, new ways to connect with people, new ways to manage my time and resources, and that made all the difference. Success didn't come the way I first imagined. It came because I was willing to change, to adjust, to adapt. So let me ask you, are you flexible enough to adapt when life throws you a curveball? Will you change your approach when the old one isn't working? Because here's the truth. Life rarely goes according to plan. There will always be challenges, always be surprises. But the people who attract success are the ones willing to adjust. They don't let obstacles stop them. They find a way around. They don't cling to old methods. They embrace new ones. They stay focused on the goal, but flexible in their approach. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful magnets for success, attitude. If you want to attract success, you've got to keep a positive outlook, not wishful thinking, not blind optimism, but a mindset that sees opportunity where others see problems. A mindset that refuses to be discouraged, no matter how tough things get. A positive attitude is like a magnet. When you're positive, you draw positive people, positive opportunities, and positive results. But when you're negative, you push all those things away. You can't attract success with a negative attitude. It's like trying to grow flowers in a garden full of weeds. Now, a positive attitude doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. It means focusing on solutions instead of problems. It means looking for the lesson in every challenge. It means holding on to hope even when things look hopeless. And when you stay positive in adversity, you gain something more valuable than success. You gain character. And character, my friends, is what sustains success. Success without character is empty, but success built on strong character, that's the kind that lasts. So how do you build a positive attitude? It starts with focus. If you focus on what's wrong, on what you lack, you'll feel negative. But if you focus on what's right, on what you have, you'll feel positive. It really is that simple. What you focus on expands. So start training your mind to focus on the good. Look for the silver lining. Practice gratitude. Because gratitude is the doorway to a positive attitude. When you're grateful for what you have, you make room for more. But if you're always complaining, always focused on what's missing, you shut that door. Gratitude and positivity, they're magnets for success. Here's a little exercise. Every day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big. Health, family, work, opportunity. Do it daily, and soon your mind will begin to notice more things to appreciate. The more grateful you are, the more success you'll attract. Why? Because a grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Gratitude creates a positive energy that draws good things into your life. Now let's touch on a critical piece of success, personal responsibility. If you want to attract success, you must take 100% responsibility for your life. No excuses, no blame, no victim mentality. Successful people take ownership. They know they can't control everything, but they can always control their response. And that's what determines success. Too many go through life blaming circumstances, their background, the economy, the boss, the spouse. But as long as you blame something outside yourself, you hand away your power. Responsibility gives that power back. You may not change the past, but you can shape the future. That's the mindset of someone who attracts success. They don't wait for things to get better. They get better. They don't wait for someone else to fix it. They fix it. Responsibility is the cornerstone of becoming the person success is drawn to. The moment you stop blaming and start owning, that's the moment you unlock your potential. That's when you stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them. Now, don't misunderstand me. This isn't about beating yourself up when things go wrong. It's about owning the outcome, learning the lesson, and moving forward. If you fail, and you will at times, don't point fingers. Ask, what can I learn? What could I do differently? How can I improve next time? That's personal responsibility. Seeing every setback as a teacher, using it to grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared. When I started out, I made plenty of mistakes, and it was tempting to blame the market, the economy, even the people around me. But I had a moment of clarity. I realized if I wanted to grow, I had to own my results, good or bad. And once I did, everything changed. I stopped waiting for conditions to improve. I started improving myself. And that shift made all the difference. Responsibility leads to empowerment. The more responsibility you take, the more power you gain to change your life. And that's where success is attracted. Blame has no power. Accountability has tremendous power. So let me ask you, how much responsibility are you willing to take? Because that will decide how far you go. Now, responsibility doesn't mean doing it all alone. Success isn't a solo mission. You need people, mentors, a team, a support system. Taking responsibility means choosing the right people, building the right relationships, placing yourself in the right environments. You must be intentional about your influences. And that brings us back to relationships. If you want to attract success, you must be selective about who you let into your life. Show me your associations, and I'll show you your future. If your circle is negative, small-minded, toxic, it will be nearly impossible to attract success. But if your circle is positive, ambitious, forward-thinking, people striving for success themselves, you'll rise with them. There's a phrase I love, iron sharpens iron. When you spend time with sharp people, motivated people, driven people, they make you sharper. They stretch your thinking. They raise your standards. They push you to step up your game. That's why your circle matters. Success isn't solo. It's a shared journey with people who inspire you, challenge you, and hold you accountable. And here's one more piece of the puzzle: contribution. It might seem backwards, but if you want to attract success, focus on giving, not just getting. Success isn't about what you take from the world. It's about what you give. The more value you add, the more success you draw. That's how life works. You've heard it before. You reap what you sow. Sow generosity, kindness, value, and you'll reap success, abundance, fulfillment. The most successful people live by this. They ask, how can I serve? How can I help? How can I make a difference? They don't focus on getting. They focus on giving. And in the process, success flows to them naturally. Look at the most successful businesses. What do they all share? They solve problems. They provide value. They meet needs. They give their customers the best service, the best product. And because they focus on giving, they attract enormous success. The same is true in life. If you want success, add value. serve others, make a difference. And success will chase you down. Now you might ask, how do I contribute more? The answer, start small. Small acts of kindness, doing your work well, being a positive influence, serving where you can. And here's the beauty of it. The more you give, the more you grow. Every contribution builds your wisdom, your experience, your character. And that's what draws success. A person of value becomes a magnet for opportunity. And here's a little secret. The greatest joy in life is serving others. There's something powerful about knowing you've made a positive impact, that you've helped someone move closer to their goals, that you've lightened someone's load. That's what gives life real meaning. And when your life is filled with meaning and purpose, success follows. Not as something you chase, but as something that flows to you. So remember, becoming the person who attracts success isn't about running after it. It's about working on yourself, building the qualities, habits, and mindset that pull success your way. It's about responsibility, persistence, positivity, contribution. Do that, and success won't be something you chase. It'll be something that finds you.